Hello everybody, it's Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading on October 28, 2025. And yes, I guess I was suspiciously absent yesterday. And it's still raining. It was raining yesterday, and when it rains, it just takes me a lot longer to do anything. Plus, I had no internet. So it really, my day was discombobulated because the first thing in the morning, um, the local internet company was at my gate asking permission to enter my property because evidently a squirrel likes to eat these trees, and the top of a couple of my trees and my neighbors were intertwined with the wire or cable. So I did not get internet access back until almost, I think it was like almost 3:30 p.m. So at that time I was busy with the animals. So yeah, so I was suspiciously absent because I had no internet on Monday morning. And it rained, which means it takes me longer to do anything. But I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to the channel. And welcome all the newcomers. Thank you for subscribing and hitting the notifications bell. I appreciate that. And I hope all of you are doing as well as you can possibly be. If you are a targeted person, we do have people who are not targeted, who are subscribers who know of somebody who is or think that they might be. And that's why they're educating themselves on the channel. And I would appreciate, in the comments section, it's called comments for a reason. It's not questionnaire. So, I don't really have a lot of time to answer your questions when you leave questions in the comments section. One person was a little, how do I say, a little obnoxious, where I hit the thumbs up and the heart. And this person kept asking the questions and says, why don't you just answer the question? And it's like, to me, when somebody responds that way, they're a perpetrator, they're looking for a response. And that's basically what this program, quote unquote, is about. They're always looking for a response. And they also set up cyber stalkers and perps to troll, whatever it is that you're doing if you're a targeted person, because they want your response. I don't have time to respond to everybody, and I apologize for that. If I did, I wouldn't get anything done. So I will hit the thumbs up and the heart, and every once in a while I will respond, or I'll say thank you, etc. Anybody that leaves me a long comment about what is happening to them, I really suggest that you email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com and tell me your testimony. You can cut and paste that into the body of an email, and I could read it on my channel. So I was thinking, of course, because I had no internet, I had to do other things. So I received 2 new books. One of the books is called Chamellio, FM 33-5, Department of the Navy Field Manual. And the only reason I purchased it, because, normally I'd be purchasing like astrology, tarot, spiritual books on Reiki, etc., is because of the predicament that we're all in. And because I do have people that are cloaked on my property, and some of you people find them when I don't see them, because you have the time to slow up my videos to 0.25 rather than normal. You could see some interesting creatures on my property sometimes, and sometimes they're in camo. So this Chameleo, Chameleo, it's a strange but true story about invisible spies, heroin addiction, and homeland security. I mean, what could they all possibly have in common, right? I didn't really purchase the book about heroin addiction or homeland security. I was more concerned about the invisible spies, because the book speaks a lot about cloaking and visibility. So I'm going to read some of that. But before I do, remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And I was also thinking today, because I had the time, about the devil. And so many of the words that are associated with the devil also begin with the letter D. Dysfunctional, I mean, obviously, everything that we as targeted people deal with is completely dysfunctional. From the neighbors, the handlers, if you want to call them that, the fusion centers, these are completely dysfunctional people. They want to deconstruct. There's another D word. They want to deconstruct our lives, tear apart our lives, because they're psychopaths. Disinformation. There's a lot of disinformation within the targeting community about what targeting is and isn't, because a newer targeted person is not going to be getting what a targeted person who's in the program 10 or 15 years is experiencing. Men and women experience targeting differently, and there are mostly women in the program. And they target people for different reasons. So there's a lot of disinformation also spread. Your neighbors spread the slander campaign, the disinformation in the community, because they are disinformed, but they don't really care because they're mostly narcissists and psychopaths, and they want to inflict their hate, the hatred that they feel within themselves. They need to project that out onto someone in the environment, and that is what the targeted person is. Targeted person is the projection of hatred from a group or groups or the mobs of people that are told a slanderous lie about you. But it doesn't matter whether they believe it or not. They just need to unleash their hatred because they're so hateful of themselves. So as there's a disruption of the targeted individual's lives, throwing everything up in the air, complete chaos. They want to disrupt everything, denigrate, depreciate, demonize. They want to demonize the targeted person as having done something wrong. They'll spread the slander campaign that, oh, you're a pedophile, a sexual deviant, you don't pay people, you have a non-profit, you like cats, you don't like cats, you like dogs instead. Oh, you're a woman, we don't like women. Oh, you're over 50, we don't like that either. Oh, you're intelligent, we definitely don't like that. Creative, no, we want to steal all of your creativity. So they want to disrupt, denigrate, and demonetize. They want to demonize people. A Zersetzung, the Stasi term Zersetzung actually means decomposition. That means whittling away, decomposing a little at a time for plausible deniability. So if they destroyed your deck all at one time, that would be a reportable offense. So instead, what they do is they will weaken one plank, and then another plank, and then scribble it, and then the whole thing falls apart for plausible deniability. So that's decomposition. They want you to disengage from all of the things that you love and know. They want to destroy your life because their lives are so miserable. They need to project that onto the targeted person and destroy your life. They are disgusting and despicable. It is absolutely dystopian what is happening to targeted people. They want us to distrust each other and the world because of the infliction of their disinformation and dysfunctional behaviors. They want to inflict delays. They want to detain us, literally detain us in our own homes, devalue us in the community, and by the things that they do to us, by breaking into our homes, stealing things, puncturing holes in our clothing, blowing air into your stomach with directed energy weapons, harming your pets. They want to derail your destiny, They want to derail, and you are detained. You have detention in the privacy of your own home, and this all cumulatively is devastating upon the targeted person. And that's what the devil brings to the table. So now let's get on to this book, Chamellio by Robert Guffey. Headquarters, Department of the Navy. This is March 2015. So what I'm telling you, 2015, I am sure the cloaking and invisibility suits have advanced astronomically. So I'm on page 110. And I'm just going to pick out this little section here, read a little bit about this. The print is quite small, and even with my glasses, the print is small, so it's not comfortable reading. So here we go. The government is little more than a front for an even larger organization, and those people are ruthless. Let that sink in a minute. So the government is a little bit more than a front for a larger organization, and those people are ruthless. More ruthless than I or anyone I work with. They could just as equally sentence a room of 5-year-olds to death as they could shower in the morning. Hypnosis isn't even the beginning of it, although we have used hypnotic techniques to make some forget our existence. We mostly operate through covert operations, terrorism, seemingly illegal acts, and this is for educational purposes only. I'm reading a book by Robert Guffey, Guffey. Consider this. When you see a news story about a man who killed his neighbor and was arrested, that neighbor is most likely one of the people my superiors doesn't want to exist. And the person who did it is one of our operatives. And I can guarantee that that person never went to jail for a second. Rather, he was brought back to the nearest mobile command center. We're all paid well. There's no question about that. But with all the security measures we must go through, there's nowhere we can spend it. I can't even go to Wendy's without risking being recognized, just like many other of my cooperatives. So our money mostly goes to purchasing supplies and ordering food and things from places that will deliver food or that we have an agreement with. I only have about 5 minutes left to type before the counter IC programs go down, so I'm going to have to make this quick. You must know about the new static field generator that my agency is developing. It distorts all light and sound waves that pass through it, creating an illusion much like invisibility coupled with dead spot of noise. In other words, you won't be able to hear or see whatever is in the radius of the static field. The thing returns false radio, UV, IR, and thermal signals as well. We field tested small models that can cover a single individual and have had no real problems with these, but soon we will be developing larger ones to hide aircraft and large artillery. And I believe that that already exists. I have seen it here in Jackson County, Kentucky, where I can see a plane, a copter or whatever. I'll see a plane or a copter, and then I'll go to photograph it or videotape it. And when I photo it, videotape it, there's nothing on my camera. Zero. There's no image. It's cloaked. It has the ability to cloak itself. So remember, this book is written in 2015, and this technology, 10 years later, I'm sure is advanced. Are they projecting it at you from a car that they're following you with? So this is like a little question and answer right here. That's what I can't, well, yeah, definitely, but Eric had some good advice with the headphones and the music and shit. It seems to help a lot when I'm driving. When I was in the grocery store, I finally got the muffler and stuff. The car's running so much better. Okay, so I'm not going to read the rest of this because I didn't read this in advance. And this paragraph, there's a lot of like F words and curses and stuff like that. The point I wanted to make was in this paragraph that they've developed technology where they have a static field generator. They were developing at the time, that was in 2015, and it distorts light and sound waves that pass through it, creating an illusion, much like invisibility, coupled with a dead spot of noise. In other words, you won't be able to hear or see whatever is in the radius of the static field. That means that the people that are cloaked, you won't even be able to hear them, let alone see them. And in this book, he actually describes these cloakers as little people, that they would be little people walking around with these devices. And that there would be, he says, he noticed that occasionally parts of the little people would become visible. Depending on the background, a vague outline would appear, represented by dots of light floating in the air. It looks something like the auras he would see when suffering from a bad migraine. Now, I've mentioned this before. When I moved here, my cameras actually caught the aura of the outline of a human form. And let's see what else he's got here. In fact, at first he thought that's what they were, but then he began seeing them more and more frequently, often when he wasn't suffering from a migraine, and only when he could sense the presence of other people in his apartment. I had no idea what this detail indicated. The flashes of light made me think of visual phenomenon, and some people report while having hallucinations. Again, there was something about the detail that seemed authentic to me. I couldn't explain why, however, so I just put it in my gray basket, neither positive or negative, just gray, for the time being, and promised myself I'd try to follow up on it later. So what this person was saying was that he would sense or feel little people, and they would become visible. Parts of them would become visible depending on the background. There would be a vague outline that would appear, represented by dots of light floating in the air, like an aura, the energy field around a person. So I'm going to repeat this one sentence that probably would help us explain how it is that this program could exist and nobody does anything about it. Remember, it is a huge octopus, and I'm sure even its targeted people, as we progress through the years, really don't know exactly what's going on because it's a complete psychological operation. The government is little more than a front for an even larger organization, guys, and those people are ruthless. Okay, so I'm going to end on that note. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. I hope you enjoyed that, what the devil brings to the table, with the letter D, and the book Chameleo by Robert Guffey. Please leave your questions and comments down below. No, don't leave me any questions. I don't have time to answer them. Please leave your comments down below. If you have questions, though, feel free to email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. And if you have a testimony that you would like to share in writing, feel free to email me and I'll read it on the channel. And this way you can document it, keep it for yourself. Excuse me, my throat's dry. And I will talk to you guys soon.